Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 556. We are coming to you live from somewhere, nowhere, Denver, Colorado, East Denver, day 4. We're going to give you a quick rundown on the day, who we talked to, who we met. One of the cool games we got to play test a little bit, and then we're going to play it here with you guys because I didn't get to do a full run through of it. I want to, and we're going to check it out. And I don't know, I want to know your thoughts on it. It's a pixel game, sort of like some old Dungeon Quest Master stuff, and I've gotten to know Michael, the founder, for about 2 years now. So it's really amazing to sort of see him up and about and game active, I guess you could say. So I'm really excited for this. Right now, it's a simple 20-minute run-through game. So we're going to be able to play it rather quickly, showcase it to you, and hope that you like it, yeah, so we're going to jump into this. We spent the day at Encode Club, day 1 of Encode Club. Huge amount of sponsors and, part of it. But what they were really sort of building out today was, the big sponsor of it, Multiverse X, formerly known as Elrond. And for those that have seen my name changes over the year, I have a .elrond name. I've moved it down to just eth.soul on my Twitter because I usually put a really long thing after my name of wherever I'm at in the world. And so, one of the really cool things is, one of the big things that I got to do, really cool things, sit down and talk with Elrond, now Multiverse X, was created by 2 brothers. And I got to sit down and talk with Lucian today, and really sort of talk about one of the cool pieces there. So super excited for that. And, just sort of hearing the enthusiasm, I got to nerd out a little bit and talk about sequential sharding, parallel sharding, and what that looks like. And really excited to sort of see how much more they grow as they're building out some really cool stuff. They are WASM based. They're building out an EVM Solidity layer for settlement as well, and working on their layer 0 connection. Some awesome stuff going on there, and I'm just really excited to sort of see what they build out. And there's just, they're doing it. They are really working to build something with users and in a secure manner and decentralized. And so excited to sort of see that come out. Elrond sort of launched through Binance, originally, or Binance Labs ventures. And then they were able to split off and do their own, be their own. They launched it at the same time as Near. And so it's just one of those things that it's really cool to sort of see getting built out and getting pushed so hard in development. So they had part of their hackathon stuff today. Some of the other cool stuff, got to sit down, spend a long part of the day with LBank Labs, also known as LBank Ventures, separate from LBank Exchange. Same parent company, or I think they've actually had to formally separate companies, so they don't have the same parent company, and that's for optics and everything else. And so really sort of excited to sort of have those conversations, to be able to make introductions to other teams and players, and just all the way around a good time. Then after that, got to listen to a lot of Degen and IOTA stuff. Really cool, some of the stuff in the DevRel world. Got to listen to this talk on Web 2 devs versus Web 3 devs, and how there's an infight between them all, which is sort of hilarious. Well, it's an infight one way. Web 2 devs don't like Web 3 devs. Web 3 devs want Web 2 devs to come to Web 3. And so it's really interesting to sort of see on the builder side. You wonder why there's so many new kids that are just learning how to code in Web 3. It's because entrenched devs that are in Web 2 don't need to move, don't want to move, and so it's really sort of cool to see the divide, but then the openness to accept. So really fun. After an amazing day in code, I went and took a break. Went to my favorite cigar lounge, had one of the nice hand-rolled cigars that they have there, and got to watch some old fights on, and just catch up on Telegram and just sort of decompress for a second. Amazing time. And then after that, got to go to an amazing Crypto Mondays Denver event, hosted, by the founder of Crypto Mondays, Lou Kerner. Crypto Mondays has been in Denver for a long time, and so got to hang out with Lou, and they had Amin, they're the founder of Moloch, and a whole bunch of other privacy things that you guys all know about. And great conversation on that piece for that talk. You'll see that out on Crypto Mondays socials, so give that a look, and give that a find. Let's see here. Oh no, we're about to run out of power, I think. Give me 1 second. I don't know how we're about to run out of power, but we are. Is this the right? That's not the right kind of cable. Is this the right kind of cable? Nope. Is this the right kind of? Is this? That's the right one. All right. Hopefully this doesn't have anything up. But got to run into a lot of great people that building out some really cool things. Really excited to see, old friends and make new friends. So let's see. Nope, it didn't work that way. No. I think it's because you're just an Android thing. So yeah, we were trying to stick an Android thing into or a USB-A or micro into an Apple phone. Probably not the smartest move of the day. Not the worst one either. So many cables. All right, so one of the things too, while we were at in code, is we got to, like I said, run into Michael for Tolan. Afterwards, got to relax, talk with some of the great founders. A new Bitcoin wallet's emerging and launching some pretty cool stuff on their encryption side and protection side. We're gonna deep dive into that a little bit, make sure that is something worthwhile before, because everyone likes to say we're the last thing you'll ever need, and boom. And so actually finding out whether or not that is something that's true. Oh, we have Let's see here. J-Core. GM J-Core.
Oh, hey.
GM.
Yeah, GM. You're the last thing you're ever going to meet.
I am.
Hey, guys, this is cool. Like, there's only 4 people here. Were you guys at Eat Denver? It sounds like some of you were.
Yes. Yes, we are. You?
No, I actually was up watching on YouTube, scrolling through the highlights. So I would love to just have a general chat, like, as best as I can.
Definitely. That is what I'm just doing now. Going through what the day was, man.
Yeah, so can you guys actually, like, just take, like, a minute or two and, like, because I've never been there, but I'm very curious about it all. Can you, like, just kind of give me a, like, replay, like, how it is, like, what the vibe is, like, who's there, like, why you're there, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. It's day 4. The main conference that everyone shows up for doesn't start until the 29th. And the first. And so this is sort of the build-a-thon piece of it. And what happens during this is a lot of side conferences and side events where some of the projects that might not have a lot of screen time or face time talking about what they're doing or what they're building actually have time to meet with like all the devs or community members that are building. It's really it's one of the best conferences of the year. One, because it's free, but because they believe on that aspect of being able to bring so many people together to one spot, to make such a learning and teaching experience. People that have never been part of Web3 are able to come, and that's, you talk about how do we onboard all of these people that we're supposed to onboard, yet you charge $1,000 a ticket. Well, if I'm just learning about something, I'd rather go do something else with my time than spend $1,000. But this is sort of a whole different thing. So the first part is all about, really, on the dev side, and what's being built out, part of the hackathon, building things out there. And then, the vibe, I guess, it's always amazing. It's people really excited about what's coming out, especially on like some of the new technologies around AI, and decentralized science. And so a lot of protocols are building up different things. Um, you know, what we've talked about for a really long time is blockchain is more than just tokens. It's code. And so blockchain is just one of those things that brings absolute finality, to a transaction, to whether that transaction is financial or application layer, data transfer. Yeah. So some cool stuff there.
No, listen, that's absolutely cool. Like, are the other Sweep and NFT Finder, are you guys there too?
They are in listener mode.
Oh, so can I keep talking if
yeah. You don't mind? Yeah.
Like, Taco, like, my first thing, I was when I first saw your name, I'm thinking like, I don't eat Taco Bell too much, but I mean, do you?
Nope.
Have you ever had a Mexican pizza?
It's just a taco laid out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to be near a bathroom afterwards. But anyways, but I love it. No, can I keep asking? Like, I'm trying to be real with you, because I honestly, like, I've been knowing about Eat Denver for a while. Obviously, like, I will say this: I did not know that it was a free conference. I am not there because, one, I didn't know it was a free conference, and two, obviously, well, you didn't know this. I'm from New York, so to get a plane ticket and all that. But I really, can I ask you a few questions? Just like, is that all right?
Sure.
So, like, of all of the conferences that happen around, say, Web3, Bitcoin, blockchain, etc., like, what would you say, like, if you were to name like the top 3 or the top 5, like in the whole space, like not just ETH Denver, but like, I've heard of Bitcoin conferences. Like, what do you know? Because I'm trying to figure this out.
I would say ETH Denver, Consensus, and Token 2049 if you're asking me to just pick three.
Okay.
If you're asking me to expand it beyond that, I would say ETH Denver, NFT NYC, Consensus, Permissionless, Masari, and Token 2049. And
okay,
Art Basel is more of a blow off steam towards the art world, but
so
yeah.
Let me stop you there because obviously, sometimes overload on my mind. You said something about 49 token 20 token 40. What does that actually mean?
Token 2049.
Yeah.
That's the name of the event normally held in.
What is 2049 like the year 24? Is that significant in some way or?
I'm sure it is. I haven't deep dived deep enough to actually know. I've known that it's been a good conference. This year will be the first year I actually go to it because they're hosting it in Dubai.
Yeah. So what's really cool to me, like you understand, like I'm just trying to figure out like the big, like what are the top 3, maybe top 5, because I can't keep track of everything. I'm not a newbie to crypto, but when you said 2049 or whatever it was, the first thing that came to my mind was like Ray Kurzweil, Singularity University. Like I don't know if that's from. So I'm trying to find like where my people are going.
Who are your people?
So I have definitely resonated with. I don't know if you're familiar with Singularity University, Peter Diamandis, Ray Kurzweil. Definitely, this is about 10 or 12 years now. It made sense to me. Before that, my people, for the decade before that, my people were guys like I was following like Vanguard Investments and John Bogle, like diversification and stuff like that. And then a few personal guys that I've met throughout my life, maybe lesser known, but very significant and successful in their own ways, not only monetarily, but just great guys. So I came into crypto, about 2015, 2016, and I knew enough, but not enough, if that makes sense. And so, now I'm trying to figure out during this bull run, what I want to focus on, what I should focus on, who I should be talking to, and what I should be talking about. And that's why, so ETH Denver came about. And so, do you mind if we go back to ETH Denver? Because I think that's what this is kind of about.
Yeah.
So I went on to ETH Denver's, YouTube because, I'm here in New York. I'm just being real. I'm just a regular guy. My name's Justin. Like, this is what I'm doing. And, I have to go make money during the day and come back to, but, and I was going through and I'm, going through the YouTube channel, yada, yada, yada. You can't watch everything. A lot of it's noise. It's not noise, but it's just you personally, right? It's not noise, but you can't personally do everything all at once. So the big things that were on my mind were, I heard something about Avail because I knew about like roll-ups and Dimension, and maybe Avail was going to. So, but I didn't see anything. And then I maybe stopped on like 1 or 2 projects, something about AI. And so I saw a lot of things about bounties. And I think what you just clarified, because you have to understand, I'm not there, so I don't understand what you're going through. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like this is maybe a week-long or maybe a 2-week-long event where, there's a lot of things going on early on, and then there's now these early ons, and we're not even maybe to the main event. Is that what you're trying to say? Can you explain it more?
Yeah. So the main
what's your name, by the way, if you don't mind?
Taco.
Wait, your name? Wait, no, wait. Your name is Taco?
My full name is Player One Taco.
Dude, Taco, my name is Justin. My friends call me J-Core, but that was a long time ago. Dude, Taco, that's awesome, man. All right, keep going.
Yeah. So, like you sort of nailed it on the head. It is basically almost a 2.5 week long conference from the 23rd to the 7th. and the first part of it is buildathons and hackathons, so builders coming in, and the bounty side, and that's what a lot of the talks and YouTubes you'll see right now are talks on the technical side, of what their products are, how they're being used or how you could use them, what some of the bounties are, because like these protocols they don't want to build their own projects, because then they wouldn't be so, for the people by the people type of stuff. Okay. And so the bounty pieces or the incentives, they're usually, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Take your time. It's just you and me, and then 2 listeners. So yeah. Take your time. Seriously, I'm learning this as you are.
Yeah, no, milestone grants. So they'll talk about a $6,000 bounty, Okay. So a project doesn't like half bake something, but they'll if they win or they present to it and they meet the judges' criteria, they'll get part of the bounty. And then if they finish it out to completion, then they get the rest of the bounty and everything like that. And so that's so that there's not like a whole bunch of like half built things, and so
could I flesh? I'm not a developer. Can I kind of flesh that out like a little bit with you?
Yeah.
So, because what stood out to me, what you said was like they don't want it to be like, or whatever, they want to not be like the end all be all. They want, like, I don't know what you said. What did you say? Like they want the people to be involved, or what was the word? Like,
by the people, for the people.
Yeah.
For the people, by the people.
So I guess what I'm realizing is I feel like these crypto projects, even if they are very like well-knowledged, well-established, have a lot of money, they don't want to come across that way because they kind of realize that the crypto like ethos, like the way that a lot of the degens or whatever the people that are here think, they don't want that to come. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that is what I'm saying.
Okay. So, all right. So this is cool. So wait. So all right. So right now, what you're saying is there's a lot of these like up and coming projects that want to be noticed by you, me, the rest of us, and the big money players and the VCs, etc. Correct?
Yep.
And they're coming into this space, but they don't want to just be VCs. They want the rest of us to notice. Is that yes?
Yeah.
All right. So if there's anything you want to add to that, because I got so much, I'm so curious about Denver and like the fact that like you're there and
it's just so cool, it's like a lot of different events, that might or that are like hackathon based, to where the one like a lot of hackathons are either 24 hours or they're 72 hours. This one is an actual build a camp, where devs have lodging is provided, food and meals and stuff, so that they can focus on building, and it's a good chance for them to be seen by protocols for teams, so people can actually see their skills. So even
go ahead if you want to.
Even if their project isn't, even if their project doesn't, I
think you know where I'm going, right? Like,
yeah, even if their project isn't full, like a smash hit, it showcases their talent so that they can be seen by other teams. So it's almost like but they get paid for that. Yeah. So it's one of those things to where people don't have to work for free or build things for free that other people will create value from. And so yeah.
So I think you have to understand, like, from my perspective, like, I am dreaming of what I think is going on, but I'm not there. Mm-hmm. But I think what's happening is you have guys that are not me. I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder, but I have looked into a lot of, this AI stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm realizing there's guys that do this and there's AIs that do this and there's guys that use AIs that do this. And it sounds like to me what you're saying is they're putting maybe, I don't know, you can tell me, are they putting all three of those categories of people in the same room and saying, hey, for the next 48 hours or 72 hours, like, just what are they asking them to do? Like, and are they paying them to do this? Like,
so they're competing for grants. They're competing for they're competing for the different side of things, like the different bounties. And so some of the things, like let's say your project, you know, they try to build different, like simple things that can be used by people. So you go and use a protocol, how easy is it for you to use, or is it rough? I saw quickly that you were doing a Barachain piece, so how easy was that experience to onboard new people to try it out? So rather than so their teams are getting built, and this is not 72 hours. This is a week and a half long hackathon. And so they're getting bounties. Hold on one second, J-Core.
Go ahead.
So when projects are building, they're attempting to use multiple different bounties into one thing. So it's not like you can only play with one Lego set. How many Lego sets can you mesh together? And so you've seen, you're probably doing airdrop hunting on multiple different chains.
Yeah.
This is different protocols.
I'm trying to figure out like where I fit, and I'm having a hard time in that last piece figuring out like what really that is.
So and I'll get to this because I think I'm not pegging you, but I'm thinking I know where you would belong in this, where this would interest you.
I'll tell you if I am or not.
Yeah. And so the aspect of it is
I'm a user experience airdrop, trying to figure out these. Yeah.
So the main conference that starts on the 29th, that's where all the booths, all the protocols, all the projects are there talking about what they have, what they're launching, and like come try out our test net, come try out our a new test net that just went live that I got turned on to today that was out is Morph.
So when is that, you're saying?
So that starts on the 29th.
All right. So I would love to keep talking, but I know there's other people that might want to talk. But there's so many questions I have.
Until someone else puts up another question or puts up their hand, everyone's just listeners, man.
All right, let's keep going.
So the main part of this, let me get onto this for a minute, J-Core.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
So what goes on during the first part is because there's so many different things to build on, there's a lot of different protocols that come up, and they host their own side events, like day-long, where you can talk with the core devs. You can walk through any protocol bug fixes, like why does your contract pull up this error if you're trying to mesh these two different things together, and so there's a lot of different side pieces to that. So there's a lot of side events. In Code Club was one of the ones that they have going on for 4 days. I went to day one today, and they have a lot of speakers talking about their projects. We had like Brad Thaw from Thorchain, the co-founder of Thorchain, speaking today, and what they're building out, and then some of the new protocols that are building out on Thorchain or building out on, bridging Thorchain to like Cosmos ecosystem or Cardano ecosystems for liquidity access, so people can move their money around, because interoperability is a really big thing. And so learning how, what this is a chance for is people to try to break these norms of like, hey, this is a siloed chain. You can only do what you can do on this siloed chain. Right. Today I met one of my friends, Ryan. He's building out a two-way bridge to bridge BRC20s over to Ethereum, and then be able to bridge back to BRC20. Civil, you got your hand up.
Yes, sir. Hello from Denver.
GM.
Hey, guys. Oh, you're there? You're there?
Yes, sir.
Dude!
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
What do you want to know?
I'm not there, so I want to learn it all.
You want to learn it all? Okay. So are you prepared to invent the elimination of death? And are you like deep into longevity research, so we have enough time to cover it?
I actually am. I was just saying about Peter Diamandis and like Ray Kurzweil and Longevity Inc. Like, I mean, yes, that's me. But what do you? But I really let's keep
There was actually someone today when people were sharing like, the challenge they were going through, and someone was, I really struggle with the idea of death. I don't think that we're in a time when we have to accept that there's death. But yeah, it's a tangent. But it was, I agree with you. But it was. I don't know if I agree with that. It was not from me. It was definitely from someone. But yeah, it was in the context of Ethan, right? No, it was actually just Taco actually just was a pretty cosmos-centric event.
Yeah.
It was Cosmos?
Well, no, it wasn't like done by Cosmos. There were people there that were doing stuff on Cosmos, and I guess like one person was pretty closely working with. I am still figuring out how the whole
which event were you at, Sybil?
Say that again. So what was that?
Which event were you at?
It was a pretty small like Wi-Fi meetup.
Okay.
Like Regen meetup. I don't know. Are you familiar with Regen Network?
I am. I do some. I do some cool stuff there.
Wait, both of you are?
Yeah.
Wait, that's crazy.
Regen Refi is not a new thing, man.
No, it's not. But still, most people have not heard of it either. Like
I work heavy to try to like bridge Toucan out, you know, and bring carbon credits on chain.
He's way more into it than he knows way more than.
Yeah. What do you mean, Taco? You're working with Toucan protocol?
No, not directly right now, but we're working too on their carbon credits because all of the carbon credits are locked on Toucan, and it is a one-way piece.
What do you mean?
So carbon credits, so you can bridge to Toucan, but you can't bridge out.
Oh, okay, and that's what you're working on?
Yeah, so making a liquid market for carbon credits via Atlas protocol.
Okay.
So that you know that and that Harry is leading the charge on that, and so that way, right now, if you look at carbon credits on Toucan, it doesn't matter if it's a AAA gold standard 2022 carbon credit or a C-rated, who knows who that standard is, 2012 carbon credit, it's still $1.35 per metric ton. If you bring it into an open market, you could find price discovery, especially on the aspect of who needs what carbon credit when, but then also proof of redemption on chain. So Cryptic, I see the hand up.
Redemption, you mean retirement?
Yeah.
And then I know Cryptic's got his hand up, and I also want to know, how does that relate to like energy web or anything like that?
So there's decentralized. So yeah, so okay. Actually, so there are different things, right? There's renewable energy credits, which is not directly tied to the actual energy infrastructure necessarily, but is directly tied to renewable energy. And then there's this thing about energy systems and energy grids, and think about protocols that might be able to decentralize them.
All right. Hey, I'll figure it out. I'm so okay. There's more to learn. I think Cryptic, it's great. Cryptic, are you there, man? Cryptic, are you there?
Yeah. I'm here.
No. I mean, are you there? Like, are you in East Denver right now?
Yeah, because the crazy thing is, I was taking pictures, reporting, bringing information, and the little pop, things on the little when you walk around the
collapse. Yep.
Yeah, so I was looking at the other day, and I was like, oh, how like minted so many coins, particular area, and then I was looking, and I saw your name, Taco. I was like, what? Taco? Like Taco's here? I'm like, nah, not Taco. And then I noticed that you had East Denver. I was like, maybe he is here. So,
if it's a crypto conference, Taco's there.
Yeah.
Taco's there, man. Taco's there.
No.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna be there tomorrow?
I will be. Yeah. I have
God willing.
I have oh man, I got to look at my calendar. But I have a meeting in the morning, and then I should be over at the Builder Hub, I think before around 11 or noon. So yeah.
Which one is the Builder Hub? Is that the one right next to the main menu?
Yeah. So the Builder Hub is like the big stadium, like the big stadium.
Oh, okay. So it is in the main menu, right?
Yep.
Inside.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be chilling near the submarine stage, and I'll be like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, I'll be chilling there, or I'll be next.
Were you at the submarine stage like today or yesterday?
Yeah, I'm the guy who's walking around with the glowing backpack.
Wait, were you doing like camera stuff?
No.
So, but you were there doing like all the talks yesterday and today?
Oh, I was ever since the first day. I live in Boulder. I live in Boulder, Colorado.
So we were like, so yesterday we were like less than 10 feet away from each other.
So just I'm gonna pause this for a second so I can give because J-Core is not here. He's in New York right now. So J-Core, just so you know what they're talking about, Neptune, submarine, they're different stages. Some of those YouTube videos you were watching,
Okay. Yeah.
those were different stages. And I'm just gonna throw a big wrench. I'm hanging out in the octopus room, which is like sort of the chill, relax room, just because that's sort of where I sort of hang out. Because there's some nice power cables back there.
My first thing, a few days or a day ago, I saw Big Boy Crypto, fighting out the ring, with the Sonic and the Hedgehog.
Yep.
When you guys are at East Denver, do people wear these amazing, crazy costumes just to stand out so people know who they are when they see them?
I will speak on that simply because I'm sort of one of those people, I guess.
Yeah.
A weird habit that I got into about a year and a half ago was because there were so many conferences going on at one time. There was like 7 conferences. I had to wear all my badges at once. This was about 2 years ago. So that sort of started the journey of me wearing all of my badges and just I don't take them off. So that's sort of what everyone recognizes me as, wearing all the wristbands and all the badges from like the last 2.5 years.
You have to stand out, yeah.
And and then I wear a backpack that shows my NFT, some of my NFTs on them, and flashes through and stuff. And so.
Because do you got a backpack with LED?
Yep.
So somebody was telling me I see somebody with a backpack with LED backpack. I was like, oh, that's me. And no, you must be walking really fast if that was the case. I'm like. I didn't see another person with an LED backpack yet, but now you're saying that you have one.
Yeah, my company.
Now I gotta look for you.
My company makes them.
I feel not only online, I'm not there, but not only online, but you want to stand out. You have to stand out. You got to be different, or nobody's gonna notice you.
Well, not only that, but it's for me, the one-liner that I've gotten to. When people ask that, I'm like, this is a visual representation of proof of attendance, proof of history, proof of work, proof of stake, or as I say, resume. How do you say that you've been everywhere, that you go everywhere without being everywhere? Sybil, I don't know how many times you've had to hear that.
Some people say you're boasting. My father told me early on, he said, if it's true, you're not bragging. And you know what? I was a good athlete, growing up. And, I realized people are not going to know it if they don't see it or you don't tell them. And you don't need to put it in their face. You just got to put it out there. And if they see it, they can ask a question what's it about? You tell them one-liner, this is me. This is what I've done. And what I'm seeing is online. If you're looking at all these protocols and these airdrops and ZK Sync and blah 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 or Linea, you're looking at these protocols, looking at these passports. They're all doing the same thing, right? With proof, POH, proof of human, or Gitcoin passport or whatever, right? It's the same thing because nobody knows what we are until we tell them. And if we don't tell them, the nice thing about blockchain is you really don't have to tell them; it's already there. But if you want to tell them, it's even better, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Guys, you guys, I love talking to you guys. This is great.
You know the crazy thing is, it's I look at it like this. When you walk, get on your app, you go on your application. Do you care about the developer or
who me?
You're saying you care about the developer who did the application?
No.
Yeah, well, anybody. Nobody cares about the developers of the application because nobody. They don't how you say they only want the key thing to work. So that I say most of the time is if you're developing or you're doing something or you're doing some type of blind thing, it's good to talk about it. It's good, like, this is where the origin story, where you come from, where you're heading to, this is where you think. And this is not like you're bragging about it. This is when you're constructing, you're communicating, and you're kind of like establishing like what to come through and what's coming to the future.
You want to know, like, and I think I'm a good guy to speak to this, kind of as a degen and like a user of this stuff. I don't want to have to go to the website, look at the team, look at their doxed or not, look what they've done or not. If I will if I have to. I don't want to have to go to Dex Screener or Dex Tools. I don't want to have to go and look if it's a how is it audited or not, or is the liquidity here or there or locked or not. I will if I have to, but I know when I'm looking at projects, right, and I know my risk, right? Like when I'm looking, like, I'm just going to be real with you, like, when I looked at TrueBit Protocol and I saw that it was 2 of the 8 guys that were behind Ethereum and they were trying to scale, I said, all right, I don't really have to do a lot of digging on these guys. I kind of do enough and I know. But when I'm going into like a degen play or a new, like you guys are saying, you're at East Denver, and you're dealing with, I don't know these guys. I don't know where they came from. I don't know. Are they going to rug me? Or are they not? So, yeah, there is that level of like, there's the level of trust. And obviously, from my perspective, I know that if I find a project and I find it early, it's the best because that's when you find the gems. And but there's a lot of risk.
Yeah, and then just like today, I noticed I was coming across. I don't know, Taco, if you've seen it today. It was back in the corner where you're playing the Avogachis.
Yep.
All right. So there was this gentleman who had this AI game. So there was this game they're telling that the AI tells you a story and it tells you and explains to you what's going on, and you're talking to the AI. And the AI is basically giving you the story where you go. So the whole thing is in writing. So you're playing the game by texting, but like while you're writing it, it generates pictures in the background, tells you very good storytelling. So at first I thought like this is weird, but the possibilities are endless because the AI is basically describing the game to you.
I didn't see that game, but I know of things like that, so I'll have to check that out tomorrow when I'm over there.
Yeah, that was cool. And there was like this other one that was built on the Ords games, the ones that's being the emulators and being built on the Bitcoin network.
Yep.
And that was pretty cool. And then there was this what's this other game that I thought was pretty. There was like a shooter, like multiplayer game.
No.
That was in the back. That was pretty neat. But yeah, so I would be chilling there, I'd be taking pictures, having fun. This is so interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
So from an outsider not being there, if I were to ask each one of you, like the one thing that you saw as your time there, like that really stood out, that you would like you're like writing down in your head, like on your notepad, like, hey, I need to come back and look at that. Like, what would it be?
Oh, I think it was this morning. I think I saw that the what's that called, the tesseract, the floating tesseract
Wait, what's it called?
It was this like floating tesseract that is flying. It's in the back in the museum area. It's so sick. Let me get could I post it up on top?
No, we leave one thing on here, the video and the mega of this space.
Okay. So
you can put it in the comments.
So basically, it's the artist. This is basically there's an area in the back where all the octopus and there's like the chill area you can have for the music. And there's this artist who designed a tesseract and basically with crystals and glass, and he has this light bulbs, really expensive thing. But the thing was so freaky is when you walk around and you're taking pictures, the thing is just illuminating in so many different ways. So you never see the thing ever the same way. So that was the most coolest thing. I would love to go back and see it again because that was the song.
Tesseract, it is. Tesseract, it is. What about you guys, the others that were there? Like the one thing that, I mean, you got to come back to, like, or that's on your mind, or Civil, Taco?
So repeat that question.
Like you know how, like, when you show up someplace and you're like, wow, and you know, you might, I don't know, how long you been there? A few days maybe, or like, if there's one thing on your mind or one project or like one idea that just was like, whoa, like, I don't know what it is, but I think that's something I want. Maybe that's the thing I've got to look at more, or that's the big thing, you know, that's the big project. Did you see anything like that?
The two things that I've seen so far, or let's say three things so far, would be one of the Bitcoin projects on Bob, the Bob Buildathon, built on Bitcoin, is what Bob stands for. Is a AI created heavy metal music band that they're going. After we talked, I threw an idea out there, and they're going to look at making like their own version of an AI created metal band cartoon as well, like Metalocalypse. And that's just something that's just super funny and cool. Then one of the things was Genius AI. It's a SDK that can be implemented into games that are being built. That will run a blockchain in the background through the excess compute power of that game. So they're doing microtransactions, so it doesn't take any excess power really from the phone. But because the game is running math on the game engine, why not have it run a little bit of math for sharded out blockchain? So there's that, which is a really cool project coming out.
I'd like to ask you more about that and keep going. Your third one.
And then last was I've known the founders, Tolan Worlds, for a while. Finally got to sit and play the game, and that was just a cute little, 25-minute little run through. But to see something that I've seen, from a person I've seen grinding away on this and finally start to get it out there and get recognition for that, I think is something pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I forgot one. There was this one more thing. So last year, I was near an Eastover event, but I bought myself a ticket, and some people needed some helpers, and instead of me to enjoy it like a regular person, I was driving the vehicle around, and somebody left me a bag full of things, like from the event, and there was like a card, a coloring book, and it was called Infinite Gardens. And at that time, I thought, like, I was looking for this thing, and I thought this wasn't real. I thought this was fake. So this year, the same company or the same project basically came back, and now they're making a 3D card game like Magic the Gathering, and it's like all Web3 based. So that was just the most sickest thing. I met him, took a picture, gave me like an exclusive card, and then they're making like kind of like a Magic the Gathering that's with blockchain, and then the cards kind of react. And it's like a cool game coming out, and that's the game I'm really looking forward to.
Nice.
Sybil, what about you?
Yeah, good question. It's pretty general, and to be honest, so far, and in general, I'm more focused on the people than testing all the stuff at the conference. and I've also not spent too much time at the main venue. So so for instance, I mean, it actually wasn't really blockchain, but there was a developer who had a pretty cool, I guess, AI integration thing for nutrition counting. So essentially, it's a website where you can like just talk and list off things that you ate, and then even if you like told the whole story around it, it will still pick up on the exact things and just put them in a nice, not just text, but labeled stuff with all the nutrition info and stuff. Without you having to like scroll or type or anything. And that was pretty cool to see.
Go ahead, Sybil, but I got a question for you.
No, please go ahead.
So, I mean, you said, you're there, but you said it wasn't, really blockchain. What is it? Is it more coding or, and is not everybody there blockchain or?
No, no. So, I mean, this specific application that this specific developer had been working on and was, showing as something that he had worked on, that did not have, to my knowledge, at this point, a blockchain integration. But I would say definitely most people that are in and around East Denver do have some kind of interest in blockchain, but that doesn't mean that everything they do has a blockchain element.
There's there's some element, who knows what percentage, but there's some, hardcore, coders. These are people that have been doing it for a while.
Yeah, and when you're talking about developing and building something, even the pretty Web3 native stuff always needs elements that are on top of and maybe are interfaces and all sorts of different things that are somehow connected to the blockchain and maybe enabled to the blockchain, but this specific person may not be really interacting much with the blockchain to do their specific role.
So, Sybil, I got a question for you because I'm not a coder. I mean, I'm familiar with it, and if I ever probably wanted to deal with it, maybe I could, but it seems like a foreign language. But I'm not against it. But I know that it's powering what we're doing. I'm curious to know how you and I because I deal with the day to day, and I think Taco understands. I'm the guy that goes and tries out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different protocols sometimes in a day or a week, depending on my mood and what I have time for. But what do you do? Sybil, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand.
I connect people, no, I mean, I do different things. I'm involved in different ways and stuff. I would say that I have a fairly, very, very basic understanding of stuff. So a little bit more than zero, but not that much more than zero.
So you're kind of like me.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's difficult to without specifics compare things and quantify stuff. But yeah, probably not too far off.
Yeah. No, I asked the question because I am a guy, and I'm saying this now to all of you guys. I'm a guy that, and I've spoken about Singularity University and Ray Kurzweil. A lot of people for years don't know who they are or what I'm talking about. But these are the guys like Bill Gates is the best guy he knows to predict the future. Forbes calls them the rest of us genius. These are the guys that are predicting the future, and they're building it way farther than I could ever imagine. And the rest of us just kind of fall into it the way I see it.
So when you say predicting the future, what kind are you thinking of a specific person?
Yeah. So yeah, no, it is important to know who these guys are.
So are you talking about I forgot the exact title, but essentially future researchers?
No, this guy, as far as I know, this is the number one futurist in the world. If you
so he's a futurist, so he's really for years and years looking at different
for 40 years. I mean, they call him the rightful heir to Thomas Edison, and I'm not saying this to boost this guy up. I'm saying everybody else has seen this. He is the guy.
Okay, right. But what does he do? Does he just put out papers and says this is what will be reality in 10, 20, 30 years, or is he working on stuff?
I'll tell you this. I have always been the guy, I want to know the most amount of information in the least amount of time. This guy has done a lot, but if you want to know about Ray Kurzweil, you can, in 3 minutes or less, you can go like on YouTube. There was a documentary years ago called The TranscendentMan.com. TranscendentMan.com. It's about an hour and a half documentary. You could watch the documentary, or you could go on YouTube and watch like 3 minutes of the trailer, and you'll know who he is. He co-founded Singularity University out in California, you know, over by the Googles and whatnot, with Peter Diamandis. Peter Diamandis, if you don't know him, you know, co-founder of the X Prize Foundation. I mean, you can look this guy up as well. And if you want to really know about, I don't want to speak too much if you guys aren't interested, but let me know. Let me know where you're at, because sometimes I talk too much and nobody wants to really hear what I'm saying. So.
No, I'm listening. So no, and then
Okay.
one of the random, just carry on.
Okay, so Peter Diamandis, there's a lot. This guy, I'm just telling you, you'll figure it out. Okay, but if you want the least amount of time, most information, there's a TED talk that Peter Diamandis gave. It's 17 minutes. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Abundance. The future is brighter than you think. Abundance. The future is brighter than you think. It's a TED talk. You can watch it. But that's why I tell people this. If you get to know those two guys, and they co-founded Singularity University, within 20 minutes of just watching those videos or skimming through them, it'll be, you could do it in 10 minutes. You'll know the gist. You'll know if you want nothing to do with these guys or not. What I realized years ago, as I said, this is where the future is going. There's no way I'm not going to be this is where I have to go. So I started I really dove in years ago, and I read a lot of their books. I tend to not do it on a weekly basis anymore, but I'm very familiar with what they do, and I love listening to what they say. I think that they've inspired, there's a project called Block V, which is Eric Poulier. It's an NFT project, which I was very surprised when I saw this. It was a crypto project, but I was very surprised. It was like $7 million, market cap when I found it. And Visa chose them as their blockchain so it got, this wasn't a shock to me, but I say this because Singularity University, and I keep coming back to this, if you don't know what that is, I'll tell you my perspective from it. So I went to an Ivy League school, Princeton University, studied finance. I became a teacher. I was an economics major, financial planner, etc. But nobody told me about exponential technologies. Nobody told me about these guys. Nobody told me about Singularity University. And a few years later, I questioned myself, and I'm like, so somebody here said, why do you have to die? These are the guys, I came across, I mean, you guys, you know these people, I'm sure, but, this is what they focus. What Singularity University does is they take entrepreneurs and they equip them, and they focus on exponential growing technologies to build companies that will impact 1 billion people or more. And it's very selective, right? So I have not gone there. People have asked me, they're like, would you ever go back to school? I never went to go get an MBA because I always felt like my MBA was in the real world. I was learning more from, business leaders and crypto and all this. I didn't want that. But if I ever did go back, I told people there'd be two places. I'm a little older now, but I said I would either go to Babson or I would go to Singularity University if I could get in. And I think if you do look into what I'm saying, you'll realize there's very few of us that exist. Not too many people are exponential thinkers. Most of the world is linear thinkers, and they laugh at me, and they laugh at you. But when I find my, people that I can connect with, and they take a minute to listen, and they look it up, Yeah, we are in exponential times. And this is not just about blockchain or crypto or AI, right? This is about multiple exponential technologies that are converging. And that's the beauty of it. And so I want to share that because, like, you know, I'm at the point where I was content to be a teacher. So I always told myself, if I was content to be a teacher, what would I be as an entrepreneur? And now I'm realizing, like, there's going to be a lot of change really quick. How do we help the most vulnerable? And that's where I'm at. That's my life. And I'm just trying to figure it out.
Where is this university at, the Singularity one?
Singularity's in California. I'm pretty sure I can look it up right now, but I'm pretty sure it's not too far from Mountain View and the rest of those guys. You know, quick Google search. But if you go down the rabbit hole, you will see, like, I mean, you guys know, I feel like I'm rambling because there's not a lot of people that I talk to that even care about what I talk about. And if you do, you're going to be hooked. There's no way around it.
Like, I tell you what, you sparked my interest. Like,
so I'll tell you where it is. It's at 1049 El Monte Avenue, Suite C, 16, Mountain View, California, 94040, according to Google. But if you actually go and you look this up, guys, can I tell you why I found this? Like, I found this. I used to be a really good runner, and I had a really bad injury, and I couldn't walk for, like, I don't know, 4 months or something, and I was in my parents' basement. And, like, when you're that low, you know, all you have is, like, I couldn't move. I mean, literally, it's so bad. And, you know, you're sitting there with a computer and God. And I typed into Google, like, this was a lot of years, you know, I don't know, I'm just turned 40, so this is like probably 12 years ago, 11 years ago. You know, can humans live forever? And when I started to realize what this guy was writing, and he had already written it, it started to become like, it shook me to my core. Like, not only like where I was at, but also like spiritually, like, is this real? Like, no, this is not, come on. Like, I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe that humans are going to live forever. Like, this is, no. So I found this in that place, but it's never left me. And, you know, obviously I can't get away. I want to help people. And I really believe that AI is the thing. All these other technologies that we talk about, exponential, they all kind of feed into it, but AI is it, and it's here. And, you know, if you go watch transcendentman.com, and I remember watching this like almost 10 years ago. I was sitting on the couch in the same house I'm in now. You know, and I was watching what I said, like, I don't know if she wanted to watch it. She watched it with her father on PBS. You know, she heard about, you know, because they didn't have cable, I think she said, or something like that. She knew about, but my Princeton friends, when I told them about this, they didn't know about it. When I told them about Bitcoin in 2016, they laughed at me. And they're all working at Wall Street. And so, yeah, it kind of became this, like, okay, I guess this is life. Like, and it was my lot. But what I'm most concerned about is the most vulnerable, because the transition, you know, listen to Elon Musk. He talks about it. This could be great or it could be dirty. It's up to us. But it's real, guys, and it's exponential. And the reason I speak like this, like, and there's not a lot of people that can do this, and I don't say this, you know, to brag. When I was in high school, I woke up like 3 days a week at 4:30 in the morning to go run, like, you know, 2 to 3 miles a day, because I had a goal that I wanted to, like, win the national, you know, whatever championship cross country. You know, the funny thing was, I'm not saying I was the best, but I did win the USA track and field cross country national championship. You know, flew down to South Carolina. You know, they gave me a gold medal. You know, I don't know if all the competition was there, but all I know is, like, I was hardwired to not just be normal. And I didn't go, and people laughed at me, said, you want to go to Princeton and be a teacher? And my answer was yes. Yes. And I got laughed at. And I'm here today to tell you, like, there's going to be a day. Listen, I'm not worried about me, but I'm looking at what I see happening. Like, what I saw, it's cool. It's cool. Like, you see what happens with OpenAI and Sora and all of this. This is awesome. But if you look at the long-term trends that are actually immediate now, and Diamandis and Kurzweil, they talked about it, like, this is real. And we need real men and real women to stand up now, because exponential times, you can't wait. I'm just telling you guys, there's a lot of people that just want to focus on money. They want to focus on this and that and this and that. We've been through these revolutions. Industrial Revolution, yeah, it was great if you made it out. Great Depression was great if you made it out, but it hurts a lot of people. And I just feel like this is something, like Diamandis wrote a book years ago called Abundance. And we can go to abundance. And I also, when I was in Albany, New York, where I live now, I met, they call him the godfather of nanotechnology, right? So Kurzweil, he writes his book, basically GNR, 3 revolutions: genetics right now, nanotech, and then robotics. Okay? And I met, this guy, basically, I went to go meet him, and I heard him, this guy's been talking about this nanotech revolution for 30, 40 years ago, and, we were joking. I think he went to Princeton for his, graduate school, whatever. My first question to him was, do you have fun? And he laughed at me, like in a smiley way. And I went and I met him afterwards and we talked, These guys know what's going on way before the rest of us. And I'm just telling you, and I'm sorry, I just want to help people. Like, I want to stop thinking about how I got to make a few dollars, and I just want to keep thinking out how we're going to help the most vulnerable. Because when I hear about exponential technologies, and I look in my regular day, most people have no clue that they're going to be either displaced or have to learn a new skill, or they're going to learn a new skill but not learn it fast enough. Like, I've seen this time and time again. So anyways, that's my spiel.
I think the only person I could probably match to that type of degree, but I think you went to, you kind of set the bar pretty high. So, but the person I kind of look to, and it kind of encouraged me to get into crypto or blockchain technologies and stuff. And he was a young guy, very young boy. His name is Quincy, and he is basically, he's really smart. He basically understands breakdown programming. He does basically a lot about finance, but when it comes to breaking down the tech to the most minute little detail about how it is, I fell in love with it. I was like, that's what I want to do. Like this, this is, I'm really interested. So he's a very young guy, whatever. He started making YouTube. He started blowing up, and all of his videos is very, very educational, because he goes down to every little possibility when it comes to programming, just every little thing. And unfortunately, and I was fortunate enough to meet him in East Denver. He was in this, he went to the stage. He comes to the spaces a lot. I'm able to interact with him. So I believe that he's probably gonna change the future when it comes to the finance, because he's so young, so bright, and sometimes I get blown away from the stuff that he's comes out of his mouth. His mind just generates. I'm like, okay, like this is the type of person I'm gonna be looking forward to the next 10, 20 years, maybe 30 years in the line, because I believe that he's gonna make like a great contribution to the human society as a whole.
What do you guys else think? I mean, yeah.
They're rare in between, but they're out there. But when you find them, it's like something you want to cherish.
So, sorry. You know, it's one of those things to where I will be honest, it's not one of those things that I keep on my radar. Do I acknowledge it when I hear it? Yes. Um, I have enough going on in my day that when it comes to life sciences, um, I'm not saying I found the solution in any way, shape, or form. And the only things that I'm trying to do to extend life pieces is just take care of myself. But not being a dick, I think, is number one core value. For the simple fact is, you know, you breed your attitude. So meaning behind that, you know, your attitude, outlook on life, how you treat, what you talk about, how you present yourself, um, flows through. So there's that saying, you know, you don't drag people through the mud because you'll get mud on yourself. It's the same way on how you interact with people in the world without you. So if you're acting in a negative piece, you're gonna a piece of negativity is gonna root itself in you, and poison you that way, and that'll do more damage to you than, well, running's pretty bad for you, but that's a whole different fact.
I don't really run no more. That's why I walk with the dog.
Elliptical, do the elliptical. If you want to stretch your legs, use an elliptical.
Wait.
Well, hey Taco, I'll let you be. I'm gonna get my rest because I'm gonna get right early in the morning and get back up there, take pictures, make interviews, you know, shake hands, kiss babies, you know, all that good stuff. So
I'm that good. Thank you for the reminder, Cryptic, of that it's shaking hands and kissing babies and not the opposite way around.
Oh my bad.
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, there's at least one person playing with a baby. Will you get around the submarine stage again, Cryptic?
Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be in the backpack. I'll have my little camera around my neck with my little tag, and I'll be messing with my two phones, or my little Solana phone, my Saga phone, and my other phone. I'll be taking pictures and stuff. I'll be walking around. I will turn on my backpack, glowing backpack like Taco has. But I got a bunch of random things. But yeah, so if you see me, just tap me. I was like, hey, I'm Silva. And
Maybe I'm mixing those up, but did the submarine stage also have this like tripod with a proper DSLR on it?
So the submarine stage is the very first one when you come into the entrance. It's the very first one on the right.
Yep.
On the right. And then also a different one.
So there's one on the right, and then if you keep going all the way to the back, there's another one. And if you're
dude, you guys got to meet up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like message what you got to make it happen, man.
Yeah, so I'll hit you up, and then we can connect. I'll follow you, and we just when we get together, we just chill and talk.
Nope.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds
Good fun, guys.
Yeah. Well, I follow you. I'll DM you later, and we could chat. Taco, I'll text you later, and we could probably meet up.
Always.
Well, good night, everybody. Nice talking to you.
Night.
I'll hit you up tomorrow. Peace.
But yeah, J-Card, I mean, maybe not now, maybe not even during the conference, but after the conference, at the latest, at some point, I definitely want to talk to you more about the education stuff, and that's
Hey, like, I would love to.
I really resonate
I'm
with
here.
Thought what you were saying. I mean, maybe not like the longevity thing. I'm not as like not as. I mean, I also don't know as much about it, so. But yeah, I'm not
here to press. I'm not here to press nothing. You got it. I'm just.
No. I
I'm
just
looking to connect. So if there's anything that I can help somebody on, and you can help me, like, you know.
Yeah.
So since when do you sort of have this goal of I guess prioritizing helping people? Or,
so it's pretty clear. I mean, I grew up like in a church, and I grew up. I told you I grew up as an athlete, and I knew as a very young, I don't know, 3rd grade, 5th grade, I wanted to be a teacher, and so I obviously was gifted as an athlete and as a student. But what I realized is that when I told you, I mean, I went to Princeton, I was around like great people, but something was telling me that the world was changing. And when I got out and I learned about technology and, just AI, I was like, nobody was talking about this. Like, I mean, there was like, I was a financial planner. Like, you have to understand, like a first year, I knew nothing, right? I mean, I'm not like, I don't come from a rich family or, but I was like learning about, I was taking my Series 6 and 63 or whatever it might be and getting licensed and, but I was sitting down with people that had like wealth, I'm a guy that had nothing and, sitting and I'm asking them questions like, where do you want to be in 20 years? Where do you want to be in 30 years? Like, how can I help you? And what I started to learn as time went on, because that was an internship, and I did it, the reason I did it was an Ernst & Young top 10 internship in America. But the reason, with Northwestern Mutual, I learned a lot. I learned a ton. But what I started to learn is that as I got learning about guys like Kurzweil and Singularity, is that I can't help people where do you want to be in 20 years? If your view of 20 years is what you think it's going to be, but the actual world around you is growing exponentially, like, where do you draw how do you help people fill in that gap? Because what I was quickly learning is I was selling life insurance, right? I'm just telling you, I mean, I just turned 40 actually last week, but
that's so funny. I know someone who like turned towards like focusing on positive impact after selling life insurance, and what was the other thing called? Like something very, very similar to
life insurance, annuity. But this is 20 years for me, right? I haven't done this. This is 20 years ago. Then I became a teacher. I've done a lot of things. I mean, like now I'm just, this is, I've done SEO, I've done teaching, I've done, driving, delivery. This is, but what I started to learn is if I really want to help people, how do I help people? Like, I can't just sell a life insurance policy and say, oh, like to a 30-year-old person. And like, I know life, 100 years old is actuary. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, Ray Kurzweil and, Peter Diamandis, somewhere in the 2040s, 2045 is when Kurzweil's come around. I'm not saying he's right, but I'm just saying he's been right more than none. So I kind of had to take a guess at my point of when I looked at exponential growth, what was going to be this trajectory? And so when this happened, 10 years ago, and then it was actually the reason I actually really got into crypto. There were 2 moments. The first moment was I remembered reading an article in Forbes magazine by Peter Diamandis that said something like crypto needs the user interface moment, just like PayPal needed the email address to send money, right? It just make it easy. And so I remember reading that, but I never did anything with it. And it wasn't until like 2016 that I actually got involved. And when I actually got involved, it was a different skill that I had was search engine optimization, which I would write an article on Google and how do you rank it? And there was a crypto project at the time that was, I noticed it was a blogging platform. If you know of like crypto tips, Heidi now with Toby, but she actually got her start on that. And you would literally write a blog and people would, either reward you or tip you, whatever, with crypto. But the reason I got involved for a very short period of time, and I wrote a quick article back then, because at that point I didn't know what I didn't know. I said, listen, I don't know if this is a scam or if this is real, but here it is, and here's my affiliate link. But what I knew was that Google loved it when a lot of people wrote on the same domain name or subdomain name. And it was true. And that's exactly what happened. And that's literally what got me involved in crypto. And then I went down the rabbit hole, and now we're into Ethereum and L2s, and Bitcoin, and growing on Bitcoin and Bitcoin L2s and ordinals and all this. This is silly now, and I'm not even a big player. Like, this to me has more just been a journey. But my premise has always been, and I've said this to people that are close to me that maybe don't follow this or don't care to follow this, but I've said, like, and I've said this, I said the robots and the AI are going to take over the world, and the people that either own them or control them or have some sort of ownership in them, they're going to be the ones that move forward, and the rest of us, we're going to be at the whim. And I think that we're starting to realize it's becoming real. There's obviously big players. I mean, NVIDIA, it's pretty cool. They're, growing and supplying all the chips. But I think we're still very early on in the process. But, like, even BitTensor. I mean, I remember looking at BitTensor, $45 or $40, whatever it was. I'm just saying, I'm looking at this stuff because I'm seeing, like, eventually what is the end game. And the end game that I see is, like, and this went against what I always believed, but I really do believe, like, this is just the movement of what we do, right? I mean, we create tools, they make us better, and sometimes we breed, and we reproduce. Like, that's how it goes, and but the cycles of this is happening faster because technology doesn't require a 20 or 30 year biological cycle for a human being to reproduce, raise a child, etc. Technology, I mean, literally, we have, like, guys, when I looked at what was it? Will Smith eating spaghetti. Okay, I don't know if you guys watched this, but Will Smith eating spaghetti, AI produced. That was 1 year ago, and when I just saw what Sora is doing, and there's others. I know Gemini's, got a black George Washington, but that's beyond the point. But what I'm saying is, exponential technology is, this stuff happens so fast that we become numb to it, but we are entering into that hockey stick curve. This isn't no longer, and I know this. I've been talking to people for a long time about this. We're here. We're at the hockey stick. It's going to keep hockey sticking, right? I mean, we've got deep fakes that I think are going to impact democracy in ways that we don't understand yet. It's unfortunate. And I see what we're trying to do, like, on blockchain with, that's why I say, like, proof of humanity and, Bitcoin passport, like, are you a real or world coin? You're going to look into an orb. Like, I get what we're trying to do. We have to do something. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
For the record, I have looked into the orb.
Yes. Are you getting paid for it?
No, not anymore. Because they've updated their app really well for their geo-blocking for within the US. So I'm not able to collect my grants anymore. But I actually went through the engineering code of it and the encryption of the enclave system. It's being, an encryption is being built within an encryption inside of it. So I felt safe with it, and I give my face to the government. Why can't I turn it into a hash to prove that I'm a real human that's not tied to any other information about me?
Where did you have to go to look into the orb?
So I was at Masari Mainnet in New York, and since you're in New York, you can go through the app and schedule an orb appointment either in Brooklyn or at the Oculus, which is sort of funny, at Canvas 3.0.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, and that begs another question. I mean, obviously, the United States, I mean, you have maybe another perspective, and I'd like to hear it. It's just, this seems very asinine. Like, what's going on here?
Who knows?
I mean, listen, at some point, I want to say they're trying to slow us down, protect us, whatever. But I mean, Gary Gensler, to be real, I mean, I've listened to his lectures at MIT. I mean, he's not a joker either. I mean, he might be a joker, but I don't know. I mean, you guys are at East Denver. Like, are people wanting to like create and develop like in the United States? Like, what is the vibe and feel?
At what level? A regulatory level, TradeFi level, or general public level?
I mean, I guess when you're asking that question, then like if someone is living in the United States and they also want to do something with blockchain, then they're not necessarily choosing the United States because of the regulation. It's just the place that they were born, maybe, or the place that they want to be, and they just also happen to be interested in doing blockchain stuff.
But you're saying, but when you're saying doing blockchain, you're talking about like developing or creating a company, right?
For instance,
like I'm just saying, like for someone like me, who I don't want to necessarily right now create a company, but I would like to use protocols. There's certain protocols that like just say, hey, can't come here, like, you know, you're from the U.S., you can't show up. Okay, I got, you know, like, you know, you got VPNs and whatnot, but I mean, some just, that's just how they treat you.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I cannot have everything.
So, but I guess what I'm saying, like, I grew up, right, in 2004, when I was at college. We were one of the first 8 colleges to have Facebook.com. I have watched that thing and the rest of social media grow over 20 years. It's sad to me. It's sad that I'm watching thousands of protocols on the cutting edge that just the U.S. just doesn't want that here. I don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Is that thousands of protocols block people from the United States within?
I bet you. Listen, maybe not major protocols, but if you have done as many as I've been to, there's a lot of protocols, and there's a lot of major ones that they just don't want to deal with it. And I don't know what the number is, but go through the list. If your IP address or you don't have a VPN, they don't want you. You go down the list. It's more often than anybody can somebody else speak to it, but it's unfortunately it's not fun. You can read the comments in Twitter. I'm just telling you.
Well, and so the big thing is like what it is it's projects just don't want to deal with the regulatory issues, but the lack of regulatory issues is what the real issue is. And so you know, that it's either we just block the US or you know, we put ourselves and our protocol and all of our users at risk because and so it's one of those things. You know, shout out to SolveCare, you know, but it's one of those things to where there's projects like SolveCare that have gone a different route, on a utility route, to where they look to, you know, if you go as big as you can and you're attacking something that isn't financial, then it takes the SEC out of the question, and they're the big, you know, and it takes the DOJ out of the question. And so it's one of those really interesting aspects on how do you push your project to a whole nother market when there's not regulatory clarity through that aspect. So it's, do we want that headache or not? You know, and I work for companies in the US that are based in the US that just geo block the US because they don't want to, they want to take themselves off. They want to take the target as much off their back as possible.
Yeah, and that's, you know, listen, if I'm wrong about thousands, somebody can fact check me on that. But from my experiences, looking at the number, and I'm just saying this, the number of, and you know, anecdotally, but I've like clicked on a lot of websites. Like, I know who don't want me. Okay, And I also realize that when I go to like, CoinGecko, I know how many platforms are out there. So I'm just saying, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of protocols and platforms that would just rather not deal with the U.S. point blank. They just don't want us. They don't want us. And it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing because when I grew up watching Facebook, from 8 schools when it wasn't cool, and it was like, hot or not. And, and then it become like this, like, great thing. And I don't know if it's a great thing now, but that's, a different discussion. But the reality is I could see the growth. And it's sad for Americans, in my opinion. And it's not just protocols. It's, I get it. Like, we have always had, you got to have $1 million, you got to be a certified, accredited investor, blah, blah, blah. It is so sad in America that there are guys like me and so many of us that just like shake our heads and like don't understand. And there's so many things that I know that could change people's lives, but they won't. Or you got to jump through so many freaking hoops that it's like, it's a sad thing. And so, moving forward, I don't know, besides, there's people that have moved out of the U.S. That's not somebody like me. But it's a very sad state of play. Like, all I want is like, just tell us what you want and what you don't want. Like, give us a place to play. And it's sad because the world is changing exponentially. And what I have figured out, I mean, when I was doing like SEO, and then I learned that like even Amazon, right, the largest, even they weren't paying like, tax. And this was how many, a decade plus later. I realized that government is linear, but technology is exponential. And so like, Amazon was going to just play their own game, and linear, that's what we're in now. I mean, the fact that right now, I mean, I'm just like, I don't know, but it's funny, but we just had an ETF. Okay, great. All right, so what does that mean? So basically, if I have like a centralized exchange with Coinbase or maybe, something with Fidelity or whatnot, maybe that's this seems so silly, and it seems like nobody really understands what's going on. And it just seems the exponential nature of it is they're not going to know. And I don't know. I know there's workarounds. It's just, that's what we're seeing.
It's an interesting piece. I think it's one of those things, and I think you touched on this. I blanked out for just a second because I was trying to attack something else in my brain. But and we are gonna close this up in a minute, just because it is 1:35 a.m. here. I've been going since 7. But regulatory movements won't happen, and we can look at it as an aspect of we're being governed by those that have had the playing field, and they don't want someone else on the playing field yet, because they're not ready. And so
what do? They don't even know you get what I'm saying? Like, they don't even know the playing field. And like, I tell my father, like, I'm just trying to understand like cutting edge technology. Like, I'm not trying to break the law or nothing. I'm trying to pay my taxes. Like, it's just silly.
Just keep trucking. That is the best advice I can give you at this moment. So yeah. But before we give up the night, Duck, I think, is going to come quack for us. Duck, do you have what are the final thoughts? That is a really deep. Do you really think though that the SEC is going to act like that? Okay. But I did. So I was at the Coinbase SEC hearing, and one of the things I did hear the SEC say was Bitcoin does not have an ecosystem. Are they lying to themselves? You really hit that. Thank you, Duck. And as we move on, as we end every episode, we're going to end with final thoughts. J-Core.
God bless you all, and have a great day, great week ahead at the event.
Thank you. Thank you. Civil, final thoughts.
Always ask more questions and be grateful when you look back and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Doug, I would love to meet when you, like, sometime when we're both in Denver.
Definitely. I will be back. I will be over at the main hall around 11 to 12. So, yeah. But as we've ended 555 episodes, we've ended it the same way. Words of wisdom. So, and the best, worst knock joke on the face of the planet. I want to thank everyone for joining. Great words of wisdom from Civil and J-Core for those listening into this later. Thank you, everyone else, for hanging out, and being part of this. As we end this, I end with my final thoughts, which are the same, always the same. As I haven't thought of better words yet, but a closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity, opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come a knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. I want to thank everyone for joining later or now. Please give the speakers a follow. If you like the conversation. If you don't, support them and tell them why. Gentlemen, ladies, and people in between, have a great night. And we end. Thank you guys for being on stage to help with this final joke. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah, quack.
Okay. Knock, knock.